Welcome to Salute to the Ears, where my family and I discuss everything Disney, from parks, food, and rides to travel tips, movies, and more. Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Salute to the Ears. I am your host, Jeremy Simon.
And I'm Erica.
And we are back from our recent trip, whirlwind trip.
Our exhausting trip.
It was short, but we got a lot of stuff done.
I really honestly can't believe that we did as much as we did in 3 days.
We did. We got a lot done. I think crowds were kind of helpful. I mean, it wasn't crazy crowded.
No.
It was hot, but it wasn't crazy crowded.
It was ridiculously hot. That is the most that I think I have sweated at Disney in a while.
Yeah. It was hotter than our trip that we had back in June, I think.
I think it was just more humid. I don't even necessarily think that the temperature itself was a whole lot warmer, but it was just that, like, you feel slimy instantly kind of heat and humidity. We have a lot of things to talk about as far as like the trip overall, and a lot of different things that we want to cover over the next few weeks. And especially helping you plan for if you're wanting to go during the fall and things we like about that in this time of year. But the biggest thing that we need to talk about, and the thing I want to talk about first, because it is the thing that is happening right now,
right,
is Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party.
Right. And there's a lot to talk about. There's a lot of stuff going on with that. And that's really going on from now up until Halloween night.
So this year it started August 12th, and then it's going all the way through Halloween night, and it's like 3 to 4 nights a week right now that the party is happening. So a little bit less in August and September, more nights in October. September is almost completely sold out.
Right.
You have like the 2 of the last dates in September are available. And then Halloween is for sure sold out. Still quite a few days in October, though, that aren't sold out yet.
There is.
Probably because the closer you get to Halloween, the more expensive the tickets are for this shindig. And if you don't know, Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party is an after-hours event at Magic Kingdom. So It is a specialty ticketed event. Mm-hmm. You do not have to have a park reservation or a park ticket itself to get into this. You do have to have a ticket to the event. Right. They range in price from $129 to $180 depending on what day you're going.
Yeah, and one thing I want to point out is if you have tickets to Magic Kingdom that day, those tickets alone do not get you into this event.
Correct.
I did see one family there that thought their tickets for Magic Kingdom got them into the event. And I don't know. I'm guessing they probably didn't get in. Sometimes you can go to guest services.
Yeah, sometimes there's still tickets available for day of that you can try to purchase at guest services, but or guest relations. But for the most part, if it's 9 times out of 10, by the time you get to the party, it is sold out. Right.
There's all kinds of specialty things that are going on at this event, from overlays with some rides.
Yes.
You have special meet and greets, characters villains, characters in special costumes. Mm-hmm. You have special treats. You got special shows that aren't shown during the day.
Yeah.
And characters you don't usually see during the day.
Right.
So there is a whole lot going on, and it's really just a few hours long.
So it runs from typically 7 p.m. to midnight is typically the scheduling of the show. But you can get into with your ticket, not a park reservation ticket, not a park day ticket, but your ticket for the event. Mm-hmm. You can usually start entering the park at 4 p.m.
Right.
There's some nights where it's not allowed until 5, I believe, but like it's as early as 4. And I think that probably depends on park capacity too, as far as getting in earlier.
Right.
But you can get in with that event. So they have special lanes opened up for people to come into that, and they give you a wristband, and double check scan your tickets.
Right.
So that.
And they direct you down kind of the back way on the back side of Main Street so that you can get your trick-or-treat bag and you can get all the stuff to start the festivities.
Now, this is one thing that I will say as far as like getting checked in and getting in, and we're going to talk about this in another episode as far as getting into the park and one of our big complaints, but even with these tickets, make sure they're in your My Disney Experience app. Make sure they are linked to your accounts, and use a Magic Band if you can, because it just makes it a whole lot easier.
100 times faster.
100 times faster than trying to pull it out and have it connect on your phone, especially when you have multiple people in your party trying to connect on that single phone. So it takes getting through the line faster. We're going to discuss that further in another episode, but make sure those tickets are linked to your account in your My Disney Experience app before you go, because otherwise you're going to have to go over to guest relations and have to pull up stuff, and it's a much bigger pain.
Right. So what we did, we went through kind of some of the things that we like to do or we haven't gotten to do for a while at this Mickey Not So Scary. I think going into it, you need to have a plan. Like if you're a meet and greet person, like you probably want to be there at 4 so you can start getting into some lines.
Yeah.
Because like Jack Skellington, that line is long.
All night.
Like get there early so you can get through it early and then get on to next things.
They actually moved Jack into where you typically meet Tinkerbell.
Right.
Inside the Main Street Theater. Where you can also meet Mickey Mouse in a magician outfit, which is really cool. Where you normally meet Mickey there, but towards the entrance, because Jack used to have a line out in farther in Magic Kingdom, and they actually had to change it to him being inside where they could wind people through the line farther because it is so long. But you can meet Jack Skellington, you can meet Jafar, you can meet Captain Hook, Abu. Trying to go through some of the other villains. Elvis Stitch over in Tomorrowland. There's somebody else that it was like a big.
There's
Jack
several.
Sparrow.
Yeah.
You can meet. Anyway, there's lots of different points, and some of them are in places where like you don't normally have meet and greets.
Right.
So you really have to watch the map. They have a specialty map and brochure just for the Halloween party. Has all the times for all the shows. Has the parade route. Has where all the trick or treat stations are.
Right.
And what's really fun is those trick or treat stations go through some of the like shows and rides.
Right. Like going through like PhilharMagic and Country Bears and Tiki Room, Monsters Inc. Laugh 4, which they also have a little skit going on.
They have somebody going with Monsters Inc., so it's a good place to go cool down if it's still warm.
Right, or in our case, get out of the rain.
Get out of the rain. We did run into rain, and here's the thing, y'all, this party happens, rain or shine, but severe weather can cancel it.
Right.
If they're not going to be able to produce any shows, if they're not going to be able to produce at least half of the ticketed event, so the parade, the shows, all of those things, because of severe weather, they will cancel it and give you a rain check for that. But if it's just a light rain, it's not severe weather, they're going to be able to get in at least one parade and at least one show.
Right.
That is likely not going to be canceled. So plan for ponchos, plan for umbrellas if there is any chance of rain in the forecast when you go.
Right. And they will alter the shows in the parade for the rain. Like the first parade, we did not have the Headless Horseman.
Correct.
The first showing of the Hocus Pocus show, which we didn't know, and I didn't know until I looked at social media that night, all they did was the finale number, where like all the villains and everybody are out there. They didn't do the whole show. They just did the last number because of the rain in the stage. And
the stage was staying wet and staying like all the humidity in the air because the rain had stopped at that point, but the stage was staying wet by the time it was showing. But so they were having tech issues getting them out. So it started late, but it has to end. That show has to end at a certain time because then the fireworks show is going.
Right.
And then the next parade is going.
Right.
Like, so they have things in a certain order and certain timeline to try to hit. And so It was still amazing though. But there's like 3 big things that you can do when you're at this. So you've got meet and greets. If that's your plan and that's what you love and that's the main thing you want to do, yes, get there early. If you want all the candy, your kids just want to go around and trick or treat all night and see cast members and fill bags with candy, that's an option too. I guess there's really 4 things because there's the shows.
Right.
You have the Hocus Pocus stage show that's in front of the castle.
Right.
The fireworks spectacular.
Uh-huh.
And then you have the parade. And which I consider a show because you're basically standing there watching it just walk by. And then you also have the rides.
Yep.
Because most of the actual rides are still open. The only things that really aren't are the shows. So Country Bear Jamboree, Tiki Room, Monsters Inc. Laugh Floor, and what was the other one? PhilharMagic.
Oh, there you go. Yep.
PhilharMagic. So none of those, because those are being used as trick-or-treat stations. And so none of those are open, but all of your like actual rides pretty much are
open. And some of them have special overlays, like Space Mountain is Hyperspace Mountain, where it's pitch black. Like, you don't see anything.
We did that one in 2019. And if you are scared at all on Space Mountain in how dark it is to begin with, don't do it when it's pitch black.
And I will tell you, because it's not a smooth ride now. Yeah. If you have neck and back problems and you're like, oh, I can usually handle it, don't ride it during this overlay because it's rough. Because you don't know, you have no idea what's coming.
Because your eyes do adjust a little bit on the regular ride with the starry lights, and you can kind of see, at least see the person in front of you if you're not in the front row, like, and kind of tell where it's veering to. You can't see your hand in front of your face. No.
Like this time we took People Mover, which goes through there, and it was pitch black.
Yeah.
Pitch black. So you got that one. They have some stuff going on outside of Haunted Mansion, although we didn't have as much this time as last time we did this. And I think it was because of the rain.
Yeah, the rain delayed some of the characters.
We had the butler out there right before you go into the Haunted Mansion, which
so they have. They have cast. Like so cool to see, like characters from the Haunted Mansion come to life outside.
Yeah,
and get to interact with them.
Right. And then over at Pirates, they have live actors in the queue, and then also on the ride. As you're passing underneath the bridge, you got live actors trying to interact with you.
And talk with you. And I actually have a reel up on Instagram of one of the pirates in the queue. And it was so funny because before I was recording what I ended up making that reel with, he was singing the Wellerman song. And if you've been on TikTok or Instagram Reels or anything in the last 2 years, you have heard the Wellerman song and the sea shanty because it was everywhere for a while. And it was so funny because you could tell who in line was like a TikTok person because we were all singing along because we've heard the song so much. But it was so much fun to just like have everybody kind of singing along and enjoying that. And the last one, though, that I thought was really fun that also has an overlay is the teacups.
Right. Yeah, that was actually the first one we did. And that's not necessarily a ride that we always do to begin with. Neither one of us are big spinny people.
Yeah.
Standing in the line, you can definitely tell you have people who like to spin as fast as they can and other people who are doing everything they can not to have it spin.
Or not to throw up even if it's not spinning.
Right.
Because you do spin a little bit even if you aren't turning it.
Right. But no, it is fun with the overlays and the special music and everything going on with it. It does add to it. It is fun.
If you think that the teacups or that whole setup is creepy at all, it is definitely creepier with the overlay.
Right. Yeah, Alice in Wonderland is kind of creepy to begin with. I do think there's other rides we were talking about while we were there.
Monsters Inc. Laugh Floor is the only other one that's listed as a overlay one. So it's still running and has a monster who is interacting on the screen as you go through for the trick-or-treat trail.
Yeah.
And you can sit and enjoy, and interact with them, but it is not, it's not just a like stand in line, go in, see the show. Right. But it's a specialty character who is doing it for the Halloween party, and they are specifically looking for Halloween jokes. So if you've got a great Halloween joke, make sure you stop in there.
Right. And if Monsters Inc. is your thing, then they have a special dance party for you pretty close to there as well.
Yeah, over in the Tomorrowland stage, I am going to try to post. I've got lots of little video clips and lots of photos and stuff that we took while we were there. But Mike and Sully, and I can't remember the orange guy's name, but he's the guy that gets the sock stuck to him in Monsters Inc. George. I just call him 2319. But they're all out there dancing, and like they're dancing with the kids, not just like up on the stage, and like they're like out just having a dance party with them.
No, and it was fun because like the first time when we went by there wasn't hardly anybody out. The second time we came by there were all kinds of people, kids, adults, everybody that were out there and having fun. Like the DJ was doing a good job of getting everybody involved. Like fantastic, did a fantastic job. One of the things that we didn't get to do that you can do there is the treats. There's all kinds of specialty treats.
Like these are like snacks that you go and buy. Mm-hmm. So I don't want to confuse that with the trick or treat trail. Probably call them snacks rather than treats because these are ones that you go up to like the quick service counters and purchase.
Right.
So they've got some. I know there's some over in Sleepy Hollow, over near Liberty Square. And Pecos Bill's Tall Tale Inn and Cafe has the sweet corn cake, the almond sweet corn cake. Golden Oak Outpost, which is back in Frontierland, has spellbinding fried pie. Casey's Corner has a Pain and Panic hot dog that's got a special like sweet and spicy onion relish and sriracha mustard and like all
something
kinds
I was
of stuff.
not going to eat.
But I was really sad that we didn't get to go try the worms and dirt funnel cake at Sleepy Hollow. That was one that I really wanted to try. And we were right there too.
Yeah. And there's other ones there too. Like there's a poison apple shake over in Anti-Gravity, and there's different things along the way that you can purchase and try. And for some people, that's what they like to go there and do. I wish we would have gotten a chance to try more, but like I said, there's a lot of stuff to do in a short amount of time. There's a lot of stuff to do,
and we lost about 2 hours
with
the rain. And so we had about 2 hours that we ended up going and eating at the Crystal Palace for dinner because we needed to get out of the rain. It had basically no walk-up wait.
Right. And that was actually before the party started.
It was before the party started, but there was stuff that we should have been able to go and do and participate in, and experience before the party that we didn't and so then we were full because we ate at Crystal Palace and they have so much good food in the buffet. But it is harder when it's raining. Mm-hmm. Not impossible though.
No.
I did think I look back now and I'm like, the first ride we did when we got there was Little Mermaid, was one we went and rode. And so it was before the party started and all of that.
We saw the rain coming.
We saw the rain coming. We're like, we need to be inside on a ride. And Ariel, it had just come back up. It had been down. It had just come back up. And Ariel herself was still down.
Right.
It's one of the points when you see her and she's supposed to be dancing and she was very still. And I look back on it and I'm like, yeah, that was a little creepy.
Yeah, absolutely was.
Very fitting for the night.
It was.
I do want to talk about, because this is something that's very near and dear to our heart as far as like the trick-or-treat trails. Mm-hmm. If you have an allergy, particularly to like things that are in candies like dairy or tree nuts or they do have an allergy-friendly option for you. And so what happens is that you get a teal bag. Instead, you ask for a teal bag. Tell them you need an allergy bag instead. Right. They're going to give you a teal bag. And so they've partnered with the Teal Pumpkin Project and in continuing that color theme. And so when you have a teal bag, the cast members are going to give you coins instead of candy. And you go to the Allergy Treat Center in Liberty Square. It's at the DVC ticket office. You go in there and you can turn in those coins for prizes. So instead of getting just candy, so now you still have an option to go around and trick or treat and do all those things, but you don't have to worry about having that allergy exposure or getting that candy. So it's not a requirement if your kid wants to just collect candy, even though they're not going to be able to eat it. Like,
have at it.
That's fine too. It's all wrapped. It's all sponsored by Mars and Wrigley and Werther's Original. So like it's all wrapped stuff. It's all safe in that regard of that they shouldn't be touching it. But
Right. No. So I'll also say this about trick-or-treating. This year we did it without the kids. When we did it with the kids, we got a lot more candy. When it was just us going, there were some cast members that were a little stingy with it.
there were some who didn't care, some who just gave the same amount to everybody.
Yeah. And then some who saw, hey, I have a adult coming through. I'm going to take this candy out of my hand and give you
a single piece.
Yeah.
So we definitely came home with less candy. But then again, we came home with only 2 people's worth of candy versus 4. We still got a lot of candy.
We still did.
Like, I still have an entire, like, pumpkin full of candy right now. So it's I feel like in some ways the ticket is worth it alone if you go do the trick-or-treat trails. Like, as much as candy costs these days.
Okay, so probably my favorite thing during this whole thing was the parade.
Yes.
I really, really enjoyed that parade. The first parade, like we said, was a little different than the second one.
Yes.
The first one, we did not have the Headless Horseman, which if you have not ever seen the Headless Horseman, he is fantastic.
So amazing.
They actually, somebody on a horse, looks like they have no head, and they're holding a jack-o'-lantern in their hand. Like, it's fantastic. What are your thoughts on the parade? What is it other than the Headless Horseman that you like about the parade?
Okay, I love that you still get some character interactions that you don't get during Festival of Fantasy Parade. Like, we had a little girl in front of us that Flynn Rider and Rapunzel came over and talked to, and some other characters did too, but that's the one that sticks out in my mind the most. But they, like, came over and interacted with. Normally, they are up on a float. So when you have Festival of Fantasy Parade, there's very few characters that are actually out walking the parade. Most of them are on floats.
Right.
So you have more characters that are walking it than are on floats in Boodio Parade. And so you get more interaction, I feel like. Beyond that, I love the Gravediggers. The Gravediggers is my favorite.
The whole Haunted Mansion segment of that parade is fantastic because you got Constance coming out, the bride coming out, doing her thing. Sometimes she's on something that looks like she's just kind of floating around on the ground.
You have dancers, like couples that are dancers, like in the ballroom scene, they're dancing around and doing that. You have the 3 ghosts on a float that are dancing. I mean, it's so cool. But the Gravediggers take shovels. I mean, they're like regular shovels.
Right.
But they have this whole like dance routine that they scrape the shovels on the concrete and create sparks.
Right.
During the parade, and it goes along with the beat of the song and the they, like, so cool.
No, it is. It's fantastic. They do everything from, like we said, the Haunted Mansion, but then you get to see like all the characters. If they have 5 characters in their Halloween costumes. Although I gotta say, I'm pretty disappointed. Goofy doesn't have a Halloween costume. He just has a masquerade mask at the beginning. And
did he?
Yeah,
I don't
that's
remember
it.
now.
Nope, he's coming out with like a group of characters out in front.
Yeah, because he's not on the same float that has Mickey and Minnie and Daisy and Donald.
Right. I blame Clarabelle.
Clarabelle has a whole big thing section, and I was like, okay. You kind of hit all of the bigs. There's a amazing pirate ship.
Yeah, that was my next one. And I would like to say that the casting that they did for the 3 pirates on there, like you got Jack Sparrow, and then you got the one Penelope Cruz plays, and then the guy who plays Blackbeard, like they were good.
They were really good.
They were like pretty spot on.
Yeah,
like
it was really cool.
Sometimes some of the face characters you're like, oh, that's a stretch.
Yeah,
but they were really good.
That's how I felt about the face character Jafar in the one Hocus Pocus show. But they really do such a fantastic job of the parade is probably one of my favorite parts. Like I like the parade even more so than the fireworks show. Right. The fireworks show is cool, but it hasn't changed much in the last few years.
Right. If you haven't ever seen it,
it's cool.
It's fantastic because they got this huge Jack Skellington.
He's like 7 feet tall or something, or 8
this
feet
Jack
tall.
Skellington puppet that's out in front, kind of leading the show. Like he's fantastic. We've seen that show, so we chose to go do some other stuff after the parade.
Yeah, I think we went on Haunted Mansion, didn't we?
We went to Haunted Mansion and Pirates, And then we also decided to go do some of the PhotoPass pictures.
Yeah, so you have specialty PhotoPass pictures that are available, and these have overlays on them as well. So they have magic shots. So one of the ones we did was with the Headless Horseman.
Right.
Partly because your shirt that we ordered for you said was like a vintage looking like sign for like a bed and breakfast. Only it said dead and breakfast. And it was the Headless Horseman, and so that was really fun. And then we also did one with the 3 ghosts from Haunted Mansion.
Right. So, and those are like right by each other.
Yeah.
And we, as soon as we got done doing that, like the way we were exited out, it took us straight to the fireworks. Like the fireworks started while we were taking the pictures. So we were able to see it from the side, but...
Which isn't as great, but you still get to see a little bit of it.
Right. You definitely still get to see projections. You have a hard time seeing the fireworks.
Through the trees, yeah.
Yeah. It's not the best spot, but like we said, we've seen it before.
Yeah. We kind of knew what was happening with it, and I love the fireworks, but I love the projections more. So, I mean, seeing that was a bigger thing for me than seeing the full reaction of the fireworks. But, like, we're just sitting here talking about and going through just kind of the way our evening went, and it's so much. I mean, we still didn't even get to do half of the things that are available, but
I feel like we just hit a little bit of everything minus the snacks.
Yeah. Snacks was really probably the only thing we didn't get to, and part of that was because we were full from dinner.
Right.
We really weren't that hungry, and so that puts a damper on it, and we didn't want to have to stop and eat.
Right.
We were pretty darn tired. We had had 2 full days at that point of being in the parks, being there late.
Right.
We had been in Magic Kingdom the night before.
And Animal Kingdom that morning. Like Hollywood Studios the morning before. Like, my feet were dying. Yeah. But we were able to go from the fireworks back over to the hub and get a pretty good seat for the Hocus Pocus show.
Yes.
And if you haven't ever seen the Hocus Pocus show, it's been pretty much the same thing for the last few years, where they've actually had Mickey's Not So Scary. Like, they didn't have it last year because of COVID.
Right.
But when they've had Mickey's Not So Scary, it's been kind of the same thing. And the show's been kind of become part of a tradition. It's something that a lot of people look forward to. And it's a good show.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, I was thoroughly impressed again with casting.
Right.
Really incredible as far as the entertainment of those characters. But it is, I definitely think it's better if you can be up closer and actually see what they're doing, because you are talking about live character, like live people versus like big foam head characters, where you can see those from back farther a little bit better, and their movements and things, whereas like those face character, I mean, they can only be so big.
Right. And this is really a good spot where you get to see villains that you usually don't get to see.
Right.
And they do a good job of tying in their music and their personalities with this show as it goes.
Get some iconic quotes from the movie and stuff. This will be very interesting to see if or how that changes with the new Hocus Pocus movie coming out. Hocus Pocus 2 comes out at the end of September.
Right.
Comes out September 30th. So you still have an entire month of Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween parties after that premieres. It'd be interesting to me to see if that changes at all.
Right.
I doubt it. I doubt it's going to change, but it's just an interesting thought if they're going to address that at all as far as the language of them coming back. Because they talk about, it's been 300 years since we've come back, and well, now here they're supposed to be coming back again in Hocus Pocus 2. So, it'll be interesting to me if they change the language in that at all.
They may, but this show's become so much of a tradition, I don't think they're going to change it a whole lot.
They may just change some of the language at the beginning.
This is kind of in the middle of that whole spurt where you can just kind of sit in the hub and watch everything happen, from fireworks to Hocus Pocus to the parade, because the parade is directly after this show.
Yep. You go from 9:45 to 11:15 is kind of the
Right. Well, even after that last parade, there's another Hocus Pocus show
Yeah.
that takes you up to closing. We didn't stick around for the entirety of the second parade.
No.
We just got pictures of the Headless
We
Horseman.
did the Headless Horseman, and then we booked it to the People Mover.
Yeah, we went to go see like Tron lit up, which was really cool, and it looked like there was actually people in there working, which surprised me.
There were people in there working, and
It was good to see, and being able to see everything all lit up at night on the People Mover was really fun. When we got off of there, it was getting pretty close to things winding down.
Mm-hmm.
We wanted to kind of try and beat the crowds out. We knew we didn't want to stay for the whole parade. We actually got done with People Mover, and the parade was still going.
Oh, yeah. Parade was up front coming out when we got up towards the front. Interesting to me, though, that this parade, because of the size of the floats, goes around the circle near the front entrance.
Uh-huh.
Whereas Festival of Fantasy Parade only goes to the left when it gets up Main Street towards the front.
Right.
So this takes, instead of them taking a right and going backstage again like Festival of Fantasy does, this takes a left and goes around the circle. And I think it's just because the floats are so big.
It could be.
It gives them some more space to maneuver that.
Right. Like we said, I mean, there's so much going on, and some of it takes some time. Like the parade takes some time.
Mm-hmm.
So I think going into it, you definitely need to have a plan of what you really want to hit and what you want to do. But for me personally, I can't recommend this event more. Like I love this event.
Yeah.
I love everything you get to do. I think it's a lot of fun. I love seeing everyone dressed up in their costumes, in the fun, different costumes.
Oh my gosh, so many that were super creative.
Right.
And some of them that were like super simple, and some that were not, you know. But we had some really cute little kids dressed up as stuff, and then some adults. We saw the Three Caballeros.
Yeah. Yep. We saw Mary Poppins and Bert.
Oh, they were fantastic. They were spot on.
And we even saw people dressed up as one of our favorite vloggers.
Yeah, Paging Mr. Morrow.
And they were costumes from all over the place. But like I said, I can't recommend this enough. This was definitely something that brought me joy.
Oh, yeah.
If you have gone and there's been something specific that you loved, we'd love to hear about it. And you can tell us on Twitter and Instagram at Salute to the Ears. If you have questions about this event, hit us up. We'll answer whatever we can about it. I think with that, though, I think it's a good place to end. I'm going to tell you, go out and find your joy.
Have a magical and spooky week.